Heat gathered on the glass before she realized she was the one breathing it into existence. A soft bloom of fog swelled beneath her fingertips, forming in the exact place she'd pressed her hand a moment earlier. An involuntary confession, a visible imprint of a desire she'd spent years pretending she didn't feel. Lena's touch trembled just slightly and the glass quivered with it, as if the surface could sense the hunger she kept swallowing down. Before she could pull her hand away, a quiet thought slipped into her chest, warm and dangerous. I only react like this because of her. Because Amelia's name alone could summon this heat, this ache, this trembling she could never quite hide. And before she could smother the thought, before she could pretend the fog on the glass meant nothing, she knew she had to say it. Before this story begins, before the breathless moments, the held gazes, the heat neither of them can control. Before we dive into this emotional journey, take a moment to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing where our secret garden grows around the world. The fog on the glass thinned as she exhaled, but the desire behind it didn't fade. It pulsed low and warm, settling under her skin like a secret trying to break free. She didn't notice the door opening at first. She felt her before she heard her. A shift in the air. A warmth against her shoulder blades. A subtle pressure in the room as though gravity bent itself around one specific woman. Lena. Amelia's voice slid through the apartment, low and steady, a sound that warmed the edges of her spine. Lena turned and the world narrowed. Amelia stood framed in the doorway, impossibly composed in a fitted black sweater that traced the shape of her waist like it knew her intimately. Her dark jeans hugged her hips with quiet insistence, and her hair, loose for the first time Lena had ever seen it, fell in soft waves around her shoulders. That alone felt like a secret, one Lena wasn't sure she deserved to see. But God, she couldn't look away. Amelia stepped inside with a kind of deliberate grace, closing the door with her hip. The motion drew Lena's eyes downward, just for a heartbeat, just long enough to feel her breath catch in her throat. When she looked back up, Amelia was already watching her. "You okay?" Amelia asked, her eyes tracking the rise of Lena's chest, the way her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. "Yeah," Lena lied softly. Amelia's gaze lingered, not on her eyes, but on the hollow just above her collarbone, where her pulse fluttered faster than it should. When Amelia took another step forward, the warmth around her intensified as though she carried her own private heat source. "You said you needed help getting ready?" she asked. Lena nodded, stepping aside so Amelia could pass. Except Amelia didn't pass immediately. She paused, close enough that her shoulder brushed Lena's bare arm, sending a streak of warmth up the underside of her skin, a line of heat so sharp it felt like a spark. Amelia didn't apologize. She didn't pull back. She didn't even flinch. Her gaze dipped again, this time to Lena's lips. Quick but real. Lena felt it like a touch. Inside the living room, Amelia moved with a purpose Lena tried not to watch but failed spectacularly at. The soft stretch of her sweater when she reached for the wine bottle, the way her hair brushed the side of her neck when she tilted her head. Everything was a slow burn, a steady unraveling. "This looks good," Amelia murmured, fingertips grazing the folded napkin. The delicate brush of her finger against fabric made Lena's breath stutter, because she imagined, without meaning to, how that same touch would feel on skin. When Amelia reached for the wine bottle, Lena stepped forward at the same moment. Their hands brushed, skin against skin, warm and direct, and both women froze. Lena's breath caught. Amelia's eyes flicked down to their touching fingers. She didn't pull away. Instead, Amelia's thumb traced the side of Lena's knuckle, a barely there stroke that felt like fire hidden under softness. "You're warm," Amelia said quietly. "So are you," Lena whispered. Amelia's chest rose subtly, almost imperceptibly, but Lena caught it, the tiny betrayal of control. Their hands remained pressed together longer than any accidental touch should. When Amelia finally lifted her gaze, there was a softness there, but something sharper beneath it, a hunger too restrained to hide. "Are you nervous?" Amelia asked. "I don't know," Lena breathed. "Are you?" Amelia stepped closer, shortening the air between them to a thin electric thread. Her sweater brushed Lena's sternum. Lena's lips parted. Amelia's breath warmed the side of her face. "You're trembling," Amelia whispered. "You're watching too closely." "Maybe I am." Her hand hovered near Lena's waist. Not touching, but so close Lena felt the warmth radiating from her skin through the thin cotton of her shirt. The anticipation was a pressure point, a slow build in her chest, a pull she didn't dare name. "Tell me," Amelia said softly, her eyes drifting down one more time, lingering at Lena's mouth long enough to send heat curling low in her stomach. "What exactly are we pretending tonight?" Lena's heart slammed painfully, beautifully against her ribs. Amelia stepped in, half an inch closer, maybe less. Close enough that Lena felt the heat of her breath glide across her cheek. Close enough that if either of them moved a fraction forward, the night would shift in a way no performance could explain. Amelia's gaze drifted to her lips again. Slow, deliberate, devastating. And she didn't look away. Heat seemed to move with them now, following, curling, tightening whenever they shared the same pocket of air. Lena felt it first in the doorway to the kitchen, where she tried to slip past Amelia, only to find the space narrowing around them like the apartment itself had conspired to trap their breath together. "Sorry," Lena murmured, though she wasn't. Amelia stepped aside at the same moment. Their bodies aligned too perfectly, hips brushing, chests grazing through fabric, a warm inhale shared between them like a private language. Amelia froze. Lena did too. They were close enough that Lena could see the faint pulse in Amelia's neck, the one that beat faster when she wasn't trying to seem unaffected. Close enough that Amelia's sweater grazed Lena's ribs when she breathed. Close enough that the soft exhale Amelia released landed directly on Lena's throat, warm and devastating. Neither moved. Not until the moment became dangerous. Amelia tilted her head away, barely the smallest attempt at control, before clearing her throat. "We should finish setting up," she said, though her voice had thinned with something she wasn't naming. But the distance didn't last. In the kitchen, Lena reached for the wine glasses in the upper cabinet, stretching onto her toes. She wasn't particularly tall, so the reach was always just out of comfort. Amelia stepped behind her without saying a word, her body warm and tall and impossibly close. She didn't touch her, not exactly, but the heat from her front pressed into Lena's back through inches of air. Then Amelia lifted an arm over Lena's shoulder. Not touching, hovering, but Lena felt it like a hand sliding down her spine. Her breath caught, and she hated that it was so loud in the quiet room. Amelia heard it. Lena could feel her hearing it. When Amelia spoke, her voice came from just behind Lena's ear, a soft murmur that sank into her like heat. "Which ones do you want?" Lena didn't answer right away. She couldn't. Amelia's breath touched the side of her jaw, warm, steady, so intimate it felt like a promise of something she wasn't supposed to imagine. The faint scent of Amelia, clean laundry, citrus, something warm like skin after sunlight, wrapped around her like a slow exhale. "These," Lena whispered, choosing at random. When Amelia reached, her chest brushed Lena's shoulder blade, gentle but unmistakable. Their hips aligned for a second, one of those fleeting accidents that felt scripted by desire, not circumstance. Lena swallowed so hard Amelia must have felt the motion against the air between them. "Got it," Amelia murmured, her voice softer now, lower. The glass clicked lightly when she set it down, but the sound felt far away. All Lena could hear was the small shift of Amelia's breath when she stepped back. Not far, not enough, just enough to keep control from snapping. "You're really tense today," Amelia said, her eyes tracking Lena's hands as she wiped non-existent moisture from them. "Is it your family? The dinner?" "Yes," Lena said. And then, because it was also true, "No." Amelia's lips curved. Not a smile, something quieter, deeper. "Which one?" Lena didn't answer. Amelia let the silence sit. She watched her with an attention that felt like touch. When they returned to the living room, the tension followed, thickening between them like warm smoke. Lena tried to focus on small tasks, straightening the tablecloth, aligning the silverware, but Amelia's presence tugged at her awareness with every step. At one point they both reached for the same fork. Their fingers collided. Not a brush, an intentional press of skin to skin, as though neither wanted to pull back first. Lena felt a jolt run through her. Amelia's grip tightened for a heartbeat. "Sorry," Amelia said softly. But the word wasn't sorry at all. Sounded like wanting. Like, "Please don't let go. Like, I feel this too." And then, just as the moment threatened to break open, Lena's phone buzzed with a message from her mother. Amelia stepped back. Lena inhaled sharply. The universe, cruelly, had delivered the obstacle. What did she say? Amelia asked. That they're excited. That they already opened the wine. That we shouldn't be late. Lena rubbed the back of her neck. She really wants this dinner to go well. Amelia's gaze softened, then hardened with a quiet understanding. So we can't mess up our story. The reminder landed like a stone between them. Responsibility, timing, consequences. A boundary neither wanted but both remembered. We'll be convincing, Amelia said quietly. We always are. The words carried double meaning. Lena felt it. So did she. Convincing was the problem. They gathered their things, coats, bottle, keys. But even in the small motions, intimacy threaded itself through every breath. When Lena slipped her coat on, Amelia stepped behind her again, brushing a lock of Lena's hair away from the collar. Her fingers grazed Lena's neck, soft, deliberate, sending heat blooming under her skin. You missed a button, Amelia murmured. Lena looked down. She hadn't. Amelia knew she hadn't. But she reached forward anyway, her fingers moving slowly, intentionally close to Lena's chest as she fixed the non-existent mistake. Lena's breath faltered. Amelia heard it. He always did. Their faces were inches apart now. Amelia glanced at her lips. Lena felt her body lean, barely instinctively. Amelia, she whispered. The air between them twisted, pulling tighter, hotter. Amelia's forehead nearly touched hers. Their noses brushed. Their breaths mingled, warm and unsteady. Don't, Amelia whispered, though her body didn't move back. Don't what? Lena breathed. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you want this. Lena exhaled shakily. Amelia's hand hovered at her waist. So close Lena felt the warmth of her palm without contact. I didn't say I don't, Amelia added, voice trembling just once before she bit it back. Then she leaned forward, not kissing her, just close enough that her lips grazed the air, touching Lena's cheek. Lena felt the words before she heard them, heat first, sound second. Not tonight, Amelia whispered. A promise disguised as restraint. A tremor disguised as control. She stepped back half an inch. No more. Just enough to keep them from crossing the line. Just enough to make Lena ache. After this, Amelia added softly, her eyes smoldering with something that didn't feel like pretending at all. She didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. They both felt the promise hanging there, warm, breathless, inevitable. The ride to her parents' house should have been uneventful, short, quiet, maybe even a relief, but the universe had other plans. The car felt too small the moment they stepped inside, the air warming instantly with their shared breath, their shared silence, their shared awareness of everything they hadn't said since nearly kissing in the apartment. Lena started the engine. Amelia buckled her seatbelt. Their hands brushed on the center console, just a flicker of skin on skin, but the spark it sent through Lena's arm felt deliberate, chosen. Neither apologized this time. The cabin was dim, lit only by passing streetlights that carved slow-moving stripes across Amelia's face and neck. Each band of light revealed a different version of her. Soft, serious, wanting, resisting. Lena tried not to stare, but Amelia turned her face toward the window just enough that Lena could see the faint smirk tugging at her lips. You're quiet, Amelia murmured. So are you. Maybe I'm thinking. About what? Amelia didn't answer, but her fingers tapped the console once, near Lena's but not touching. An invitation. A warning. A confession she wasn't ready to speak. When they stopped at a light, Amelia turned her head, eyes settling on Lena's mouth before drifting up. The moment stretched. Heated. The light turned green, but Lena didn't move. Go, Amelia whispered, voice too low, too warm. Lena exhaled shakily and drove. Her parents' house was warm, loud, bright. Everything that should have pulled them apart but somehow pushed them closer. Small spaces became traps. Hallways became narrow runways of shared glances. Every time someone stepped between them, Lena felt the ache like a hand gripping her from the inside. Dinner passed in waves. Laughter. Questions. Pretend touches that weren't pretend at all. At one point, when her uncle made an especially embarrassing comment, Lena choked on a sip of wine and Amelia reached forward, without thinking, and wiped a drop from the corner of her lip with her thumb. The touch was soft. Too soft. Far too intimate. Amelia froze, realizing too late what she'd done. Lena stared at her, breath caught, pulse thundering. No one else saw. But both of them felt it. Later, when they carried dishes to the kitchen, the tension finally snapped into something undeniable. The kitchen was small and warm from the oven, their shadows overlapping on the tiled floor. Lena turned to set a plate on the counter and Amelia stepped in at the same moment. Their bodies collided, full, warm, aligned. "Sorry," Lena started. But Amelia didn't move back. Not more than an inch. Her hands hovered near Lena's waist, not touching but close enough that Lena felt the heat of her palms through the thin fabric of her dress. Amelia's breath brushed her cheek. Lena's eyes flicked down, instinct impossibly strong, and Amelia mirrored the movement, eyes dropping to Lena's mouth in the same breath. There was consent in its purest form. Mirroring. Pausing. Wanting. "Amelia," Lena whispered, her voice breaking on the second syllable. Amelia swallowed, her throat tightening visibly. "We shouldn't." "I know. But you're looking at me like..." "Don't say it." Amelia exhaled a shaking breath. Their foreheads nearly touched. Their noses brushed. Light, accidental, devastating. Someone called their names from the dining room. Neither answered. Amelia lifted a hand, slowly as if afraid the air would shatter, and tucked a stray piece of hair behind Lena's ear. Her knuckles grazed Lena's cheek. The touch lingered. Too long. Far too long. "Tell me to stop," Amelia whispered. Lena didn't. Instead she leaned in just a fraction. And Amelia leaned too. Their breaths mingled. Their lips hovered. A tremor moved through Amelia's lower lip. Lena felt her own body soften in response. "Lena," Amelia breathed, barely a sound, more like a confession unraveling. It happened slowly. Agonizingly slowly. Amelia's hand slid to the back of Lena's neck. Gentle, asking, trembling. Lena closed her eyes, her breath catching at the exact moment Amelia's forehead brushed hers. The world went silent. Then Amelia kissed her. It wasn't deep. Not at first. It was warm. Soft. A trembling question shaped as lips against lips. Lena inhaled sharply, her fingers gripping the edge of the counter to stay grounded. Amelia's other hand found her waist with hesitated boldness, warm through the fabric, anchoring her, pulling her closer in a way that didn't feel like pretending anymore. The kiss deepened by degrees, heat blooming, breath swallowing breath, a low sound escaping from one of them, maybe both. The world blurred at the edges, their bodies aligning instinctively, perfectly. Lena felt Amelia's thumbs stroke the back of her neck. Amelia felt Lena's breath tremble against her mouth. It felt like falling. Felt like waking up. Felt like too much. Amelia pulled back first, barely an inch, but her lips brushed Lena's once more on the retreat, a soft, involuntary afterthought that broke Lena's last thread of restraint. They stared at each other, both breathing hard, both flushed, both undone. "I shouldn't have," Amelia whispered, but her voice cracked on the lie. "I know," Lena whispered back, shaking. "I want to do it again," Amelia admitted, her eyes flicking to Lena's mouth. Lena's chest tightened. "Then why are you stepping back?" Amelia did step back. Too quickly, like she'd touched fire and only just realized she wanted it to burn her. She stumbled into the counter behind her, palms flattening against the cold surface as if to anchor herself. "We can't lose control," she said, not looking away. "We already did." Amelia's breath hitched. Her lips parted. Her eyes softened with something dangerously close to longing. "Not here," she whispered. Lena swallowed. "Then when?" Amelia's gaze flickered, heat, fear, need, restraint tangled together. "After tonight," she said, voice low. "If you only knew how much I..." She stopped. He bit the rest back. Then she reached for the door to the hallway. She closed it gently. Too gently. Like she wasn't shutting Lena out. Just buying time before she came undone all over again. The heat followed her long after she left the kitchen. Lena felt it in her fingertips first. An echo of the way Amelia's lips had pressed against hers, soft and trembling, searching and terrified. Her hands shook when she braced herself against the bathroom sink, breath catching on the memory she wasn't ready to relive but couldn't outrun. The fog on the mirror stared back at her. The same fog she'd left on the glass at home, only now it carried the shape of her pulse. It wasn't just breath anymore. It was want. It was fear. It was everything she had tried not to feel, crystallizing into a heat that refused to leave her skin. She touched the mirror with trembling fingers, the warmth of her palms spreading across the glass, blooming, expanding. exactly like the desire rising under her ribs. She closed her eyes and the memory of Amelia's kiss hit her full force. The soft pull, the hesitant heat, the shocked little breath Amelia let slip the moment their lips fitted together. Lena gripped the edge of the sink, knuckles white. How am I supposed to go back out there? How was she supposed to sit across from Amelia, pretend nothing had happened, when her entire body still throbbed with the imprint of that kiss? A soft knock interrupted her spiral. Lena. Amelia's voice, quiet, careful, too soft not to mean something. Lena's breath buckled. Just give me a second, she managed. The hallway remained silent for a long moment, but Lena felt Amelia's presence through the door, warm, tense, waiting. When she finally stepped out, Amelia wasn't leaning casually against the wall the way she usually would. She was standing perfectly still, hands clasped behind her back as if afraid to reach out. Their eyes met, and everything they weren't supposed to feel flared back to life. "Hey," Lena whispered. Amelia's breath trembled. "Left the table too long. They might wonder." "Right," Lena said, though her voice betrayed her. "Let's." But Amelia took a half step forward at the same time Lena did. They collided in that soft, charged way that wasn't an accident. Her shoulder brushed Amelia's chest. Amelia's breath grazed Lena's cheek. Heat surged between them, immediate and consuming. "Sorry," Amelia whispered, but she didn't move away. Lena didn't either. The hallway was narrow, narrower than she remembered. Their bodies nearly touched from shoulder to knee. Lena could see the slight rise and fall of Amelia's breathing, the tension in her throat, the way her fingers curled helplessly at her sides. "About earlier," Amelia started. "Don't," Lena breathed. "I have to." "You don't." Amelia swallowed, her voice lowering to barely more than air. "I lost control." "So did I." "That's not." Amelia's voice broke and she closed her eyes for a beat, steadying herself. "We said we wouldn't. And then You kissed me," Lena said, her voice almost trembling. "And you wanted to." Amelia opened her eyes again, and the look she gave Lena felt like heat rising through the floor, through the walls, through her chest. "I did," she whispered. "God, I did." Lena's breath shivered. The house around them hummed faintly, silverware clinking, muffled voices, soft laughter drifting from the dining room, but the hallway felt sealed off, like a pocket of air meant only for them. The warm overhead light caught on Amelia's hair, giving it a soft sheen that made Lena's throat tighten. "You're shaking," Amelia whispered. "So are you." She was. Lena could see it in the slight tremor of Amelia's fingers as she lifted a hand, hesitated, then let it hover by Lena's waist, close enough that Lena felt the warmth radiating through fabric, close enough that one breath more would bring them back into each other's gravity. "Amelia," Lena whispered. Amelia stepped forward. 1 inch, maybe less, but enough to let their foreheads almost touch. Lena inhaled sharply, her hand rising instinctively to Amelia's arm, fingers brushing the soft knit of her sleeve. Amelia's eyes fluttered closed. "This is," Amelia breathed, shoulders trembling. "Too much." "I know." "And not enough," she whispered, voice cracking open. Lena's heart slammed against her ribs. Amelia's hand, still hovering at her waist, inched closer, closer, until her fingertips grazed fabric. Just a touch. Barely there. But Lena felt it everywhere. The heat they'd been running from since the moment Amelia walked into her apartment surged between them, thickening the air until it felt like their bodies were made of breath and wanting. "You told me not tonight," Lena whispered. "I know." Amelia's eyes opened, burning. "And I meant it. I swear I meant it. But now." Amelia looked at her lips, slow, deliberate, unbearably tender. Lena's breath caught. Their noses brushed, unsteady and soft. "Now I don't know what I'm doing," Amelia admitted. "Every time I look at you She stopped. The words caught in her throat. Her hand tightened on Lena's waist through the fabric. Real touch this time, warm, trembling. "Tell me to stop," she whispered. Lena didn't breathe. "I can't." "Lena." "I can't," she repeated, voice breaking. Their faces drew closer. Cheeks almost touching, mouths hovering, breaths tangling into something molten. Lena felt the tremor in Amelia's exhale. The way her lips parted just slightly, unconsciously, the way her body leaned without permission. Amelia's chest brushed hers. The heat between them spiked. For a moment there was no hallway, no family, no lie, only the brutal, exquisite pull of desire that had finally found air. Amelia's forehead pressed gently to Lena's for half a heartbeat. One breath. This is why I shouldn't, Amelia whispered. But she didn't finish the sentence. Her fingers had slipped under the hem of Lena's dress, just barely, just enough to feel the heat of her skin. When she realized what she'd done, her breath broke audibly and she pulled back her hand like it had burned her. Amelia. Don't, Amelia said, stepping away too fast, voice trembling. I can't. If I stay close to you right now, I won't stop. I won't be able to. Lena reached for her, fingers brushing Amelia's wrist. Amelia froze. That single touch undid her completely. Her eyes closing, breath catching, body leaning in reflexively before she forced herself to pull back again. The hallway felt colder the second she retreated. After dinner, Amelia whispered, her voice shaking in a way Lena had never heard. If I say anything now, I'll say too much. She took one step back. Then another. But her eyes stayed locked on Lena's, dark, desperate, full of everything she refused to speak. Amelia opened her mouth, a confession hovering on her lips, then swallowed it down. We should go back, she whispered. But her voice contradicted her eyes. Her eyes said, stay. Her eyes said, I want you. Her eyes said, if you took one step toward me, I'd break. She turned away too slowly. And Lena watched the door close halfway behind her, never fully clicking shut, as if Amelia needed one last escape route in case she lost her restraint again. The heat on the mirror at home had meant longing. Now it meant survival. The quiet hit first, the kind that settles over a house when conversations fade, dishes are washed, and the night grows thick enough to hold the things no one dares say out loud. Lena stood near the window of her childhood living room, her breath fogging the cool glass exactly the way it had earlier that day in her apartment. The symbol returned, heat blooming against a cold surface, but now it moved differently. Softer, unafraid, like a confession pressing forward instead of retreating. She touched the pane again, fingertips warm enough to leave a print. And this time her hand didn't tremble. Behind her, footsteps approached. Slow, cautious, familiar. Lena didn't turn at first. She didn't have to. The air shifted in that unmistakable way Amelia always carried with her, as if she pulled gravity into her orbit. Heat followed her like a shadow, quiet, simmering, impossible to ignore. Lena's pulse climbed before Amelia even spoke. Hey, Amelia whispered, her voice softer than anything she'd said all night. Lena turned. Amelia had removed her coat, leaving her in that fitted black sweater that clung to her like something Lena had imagined touching 1,000 times but never dared to. Her hair was slightly mussed from the evening, a few strands falling loose, and she looked undone, unsteady, beautiful in a way Lena couldn't hold without her breath faltering. We should talk, Amelia said, the words barely holding themselves upright. Lena nodded. Yeah. But neither stepped closer yet. The room held them both in place, suspended in that delicate space between desire and fear. The hallway moment, the kiss, the trembling, the almosts had cracked them open. Now they stood on the edge, everything raw and waiting. Amelia was the first to move. One slow step, then another. Lena felt her body respond without permission, her chest tightening, her lungs stuttering at the warmth that radiated from Amelia even from feet away. When Amelia stopped, they were close enough for Lena to smell the faint citrus on her skin again, mixed now with something warmer. Something like the afterglow of wanting someone you're not supposed to touch. You left so quickly after the plates, Lena said, her voice dipping into something fragile. I didn't know if you were avoiding me. I was, Amelia whispered. But not for the reason you think. Lena swallowed. Then why? Amelia's eyes flickered, fear, heat, truth, all tangled, and she looked down at her hands as if they were betraying her. Because, Amelia said, voice unsteady, I wanted to kiss you again so badly I thought I was going to lose my balance. Lena's breath escaped her in a soft, helpless sound. Amelia lifted her eyes, and there was no distance in them anymore. No practiced coolness. No careful lines. Only truth. Pure and dangerous. And I didn't know how to want you quietly anymore, Amelia added. I've been trying to for years. The room stilled. So did Lena's heartbeat, before it erupted. Years, she echoed, voice breaking. Amelia nodded, stepping closer, her breaths now shallow. Since the day you spilled that coffee in my lap during your sister's graduation. You laughed so nervously and I thought, God, she's something. Lena's chest tightened, heat rising along her throat. You never said anything. I couldn't. Amelia's voice cracked. I was too scared. Of me. No, Amelia said, taking another trembling step toward her. Of wanting this too much. They were close now, close enough that the warmth of Amelia's breath touched Lena's cheek. Close enough that Lena felt the tremor in Amelia's exhale. Close enough that the memory of their kiss pulsed between them like a shared heartbeat. Lena lifted a hand, hesitant, brushing her thumb across Amelia's jaw. Amelia inhaled sharply, her eyes fluttering closed for a fraction of a second. Amelia, Lena whispered, look at me. She did. And in that moment, everything that had been building, the longing, the fear, the restraint, broke open. Amelia reached for Lena's waist, fingers sliding across the fabric of her dress with slow, deliberate gravity. She didn't pull her in. He didn't have to. The warmth alone undid Lena. Tell me if this is too much, Amelia breathed. It's not, Lena said, stepping closer until their bodies nearly pressed. It's never been. Amelia exhaled shakily, pressing her forehead to Lena's, a soft, intimate touch that felt more powerful than any kiss. Her hands slid up Lena's sides, mapping the shape of her through her clothing, tracing every curve with reverent slowness. Lena's breath caught. She lifted her own hands, resting them lightly on Amelia's waist. Not pulling but inviting. Their noses brushed. Their lips hovered. Their chests rose and fell in near-perfect rhythm. Lena, Amelia whispered, voice dissolving into warmth. If we do this, it won't be pretend anymore. I don't want pretend, Lena whispered back. I want you. The room seemed to fold around them, shrinking until there was nothing but two bodies, two breaths, two hearts poised on the brink. Amelia leaned in, slow, trembling, intentional. The kiss met them halfway. Soft at first, a gentle press of lips, like rediscovering something they'd always known. Then the heat deepened, breaths mingling, mouths moving in delicate, careful hunger. Amelia's hand slid up Lena's spine, fingers tracing the line beneath her hair. Lena's palms flattened against Amelia's back, feeling the warmth through her sweater, the subtle arch of Amelia's body pulling her closer. They kissed like a secret being released. They kissed like surrender. They kissed like two people who had been holding their breath for years. When they finally parted, their lips still brushed, tiny aftershocks, soft and warm, like the kiss couldn't fully let them go. Amelia pressed her forehead to Lena's again, her voice trembling. I don't know how to stop wanting you now. Then don't, Lena whispered, her fingers tracing down Amelia's ribs. Please don't. A soft sound escaped Amelia, something between relief and need. She brushed a kiss to Lena's cheek, her jaw, the corner of her mouth, each touch slow and burning without ever crossing the line into anything explicit. They breathed each other in. Desire shifted, less frantic now, more tender, more certain. The heat between them softened into something deeper. Something warm and anchoring. Lena leaned back just enough to look at her. Stay the night. Amelia's breath faltered. Lena. Not for that, Lena whispered, brushing a gentle hand down Amelia's arm. Just stay with me. Amelia hesitated, not out of reluctance but out of the fragile weight of wanting something so much it scared her. Then she nodded. Okay, Amelia whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Yes, I'll stay. The decision settled between them like warm light. They spent the rest of the night curled into each other on the sofa, fully clothed, fully conscious of every point of contact. Amelia's arm around Lena's waist. Lena's head resting against Amelia's shoulder. Fingers intertwined. Legs brushing beneath a shared blanket. Tender. Slow. Sensual in its stillness. At one point, Amelia lifted Lena's hand and kissed her knuckles, soft and reverent. I'm not afraid anymore, she whispered into the dimness. Lena squeezed her fingers gently. Neither am I. When dawn approached, pale light drifted across the window. The fog from her breath appeared again, but this time when Lena pressed her hand to the glass, Amelia's hand settled over hers, warm and steady. Their fingers intertwined on the glass, heat meeting cold, desire meeting truth. The symbol had changed. Claimed. A mirror of the beginning, now softened by everything they had dared to feel. A soft, sensual reflection settled in Lena's chest. Desire becomes courage the moment you choose it. Question mark. In you, have you ever held back your truth until someone finally made you brave enough to speak it? If this story touched your heart, share your truth in the comments. And if this journey stayed with you, please consider subscribing to Secret Garden Stories, leaving a comment and sharing it with friends, forums, and social media. Your support helps this channel grow and build a world with more love and less prejudice. Thank you for being here.